Lehigh coach Dr. Brett.
Questions?
Coach,
Go ahead. I was just at Brett, just when you kind of look at them being able to come back on you, it seemed like a little bit of PV there late in the first half, and then Sorrell obviously been on that. How much ultimately did those two guys just sort of lift them onto the
Yeah, they both had very impressive performances. PV was able to use his size and athleticism to get some of those mid-range spots off the bounce. And when he elevates, it's really hard to challenge that type of shot. So we got some clean looks at the rim. Even I felt like the end of the first half hurt us because the floor was a little bit more open and they were driving so hard in transition. Sorber in the second half, just imposed his will. Got us a little bit more in foul trouble. Ended up, capitalizing on some offensive rebounds, but just that physical presence continued to try to wear us down. He wasn't the only one that was still effective in the second half, but I do think that physical presence ended up allowing them to establish a little bit more of their will as we move forward or moved on in the game.
at what point did you know that Cam Gillis was going to be your lead guard? And then number two, when they switched to longer players on him, do you think that put him on his heel in the first half?
Well, Cam's a confident kid, and he's won a lot of games. So I felt really comfortable putting the ball in his hands and allowing him to continue to try to find ways to make plays. He came out to try to win this game tonight, and I think he's got that heart and that competitive spirit, which I love. And I appreciate that a great deal. I don't know if the size necessarily bothered him as much, because even when he was able to get deep, there were options. It just, he ended up making he made some great plays, so I don't want to take anything away from him. But his end of drive decisions during a small stretch actually kind of contributed to a little bit of the run where, he had drawn to, and it would have been appropriate for him to find somebody else because he had gotten that paint touch.
How much has he improved since last year?
He continues to improve. He came in as a freshman and ended up finding his way. As due to injuries and due to opportunities, he stepped up into a really meaningful role for us where we could count on him to have ball security. He didn't turn it over. We could count on him to play very good on-ball defense, and those things became staples that we knew we could count on night in and night out. That consistency that you could get from a freshman is something that normally doesn't come around. And then he continues to evolve. You saw tonight, he's added additional elements to his game, such as his ability to shoot, and that makes him a weapon, as well as that consummate point guard who gets other people involved and takes care of the ball.
In the first half, a lot of your pin downs, your staggers, you were getting wide open shots. Did those just sort of go away as time went on, or was it something that Georgetown adjusted where it doesn't seem like you had as much room in the second half?
I mean, they've got length and they've got athleticism, so it's hard to be able to replicate that all the time. I think at times, early on our guys were hot too. They were taking some shots. Some of them were a little bit deeper. We had some of those opportunities as they progressed. I thought the closeouts were a little bit harder. They forced us into the next action. But our guys capitalized on that a little bit by going more towards the rim, drawing some fouls. I think if we would have converted at a slightly higher rate from the free throw line, now all of a sudden we continue to put pressure on them. The beautiful thing is our guys could make the adjustments between playing and scoring on the perimeter, but then also attacking the paint.
And also in the first half, you got Sorber in space and attacked them a few times. Was that by design, or that just happened naturally in your offense?
Well, I think when our guards are shooting like that, probably everybody's got to pay a little bit closer attention to the three-point line, especially in some of our pick and roll offense. But they're a good team. They're going to make some adjustments. Those guys are going to be able to make some of those plays. I think some of those plays that you were referring to in space were still available for us. We just didn't make the end of drive decisions as strongly as we needed to. And that ended up giving us, I think it was 5 possessions where we got our shot blocked. And, when we're smaller, they're athletic and long, we've got to draw bodies and be able to make the next play.
Last one.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody
Thank
else?
you.
Okay.
Yeah, we do.